Today is a very special day because it's the last day of my school's winter break, and I was just thinking, like, why don't we just make something, because it's like the end of a school break. So today we're just making some pretty easy milk cookies. For the ingredients, you will need 30 grams of unsalted butter at room temperature, 20 grams of sugar, and then 60 grams of cornstarch, 90 grams of flour, and finally 70 grams of milk. And for the tools you will need a rolling pin, a ruler, a mixing tool, and a cutting and shaping tool, although I have a mix of both, and a large bowl and a baking sheet on a baking tray. And now we add the butter and the sugar. And this is the texture that you should get after a bit, which is pretty creamy. And now you add the cornstarch, which I already sifted in the beginning, and the flour, which I also already sifted. And if you have any left residue in the bowl, just scrape it into the bowl, into the bigger bowl. And then just start mixing again. And then just add the milk. And now you can just put on your gloves if you want to, it's optional. And just continue mixing. And then just start mixing. Put all the residue, not residue, like dough that was on your mixing thing, just into the bowl and just start mixing. And then this is the texture after you get after a bit of mixing. I found out the gloves were kind of annoying, so I'm just using both of my hands without gloves. And then this is the doughy texture dough thing that you're supposed to get after a while mixing. After the dough is finished, you just clean everything up. Maybe just put it on the side and start mixing, like not like flattening it out. And then if you find it sticky, add some dry flour to the top of the dough, and then after you if you want to flip over the dough, add some flour onto the other side of the dough too. And then after a while, just measure this. Just have the ruler measure it, and then see if it's 5 millimeters or a tiny bit more. Yeah. And then now that you like measure it, so you can see if it's 5 millimeters or tinier. If it's tinier than 3 millimeters, you have to re-roll the entire thing. And now you make it into like a shape that you want. Like you can do a triangle if you want, but like a rectangle or square would be more fittable for this thing. And then I did a rectangle, and if it's a tiny bit more than 5 millimeters, then just redo it, like re-roll it and and after you've measured it and it's more, like it's around 5 millimeters. Now you cut it, and or using a cookie cutter, like a small one, because sometimes these are smaller than you think they will be. So I'm just gonna cut them into squares. And then you can remove them and then space them out here, like on another space of your sheet, so you can easier cut it and won't like squish back together. And now before we cut the dough into small squares, or before we put them into the oven, we have to preheat the oven to 300 320 Fahrenheit. And now there's some background noise, but now we're gonna cut these pieces into squares, or if you have a cookie cutter, you already did that, so just put them on the tray after. Now just put the cutted pieces onto the baking tray. And now that the oven is preheated to 320 Fahrenheit, now just put in the tray full of the cookies. Here. And then you can adjust the positioning. And now set the time to 30 minutes. This is it around 11 minutes in the oven. These are the cookies about 15 minutes into the bake. They rose a tiny bit, and it's starting to smell extremely well. This is the bread, the cookies, less than 5 minutes away from finishing. So for a quick taste test, it's really crispy and good, but like if you taste it and if it tastes raw, or like if you want it to be extremely crunchy or soft, like more crunchy, just put it back in the oven and just set it to go bake it some more. And my younger sister prepared me this entire tray so my entire family could just eat brunch like this, and then just load this on.